Just yesterday I found this recording from Dexter Gordon. And I was so happy when I found it. It's such a great tone and so many, emotion. It's just great what he's playing. And the tune is called 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just checked out this solo. I got the transcription and I just played along with the recording a little bit. Now today I want to talk about how you can use a transcription that you learned and without driving yourself insane, right? So I think it's a really great exercise to transcribe stuff. I think it's an even greater exercise to actually play with the recording, so you can use a transcription to know where you are while you're playing with the recording if you're reading music, but you can also just listen to the recording, play along and try to get that feeling of the lines. And if you look at the music notation, you're going to see that, for example, the quarter notes or the 8 notes sometimes don't really reflect the way Dexter is playing something. And that's very interesting because music notation can always only sort of tell you what to play. And if you don't play along with the original recording, you're missing so much nuance and stuff. And I think we all want to get better at jazz phrasing and getting more language into our playing. And the most important thing is really to listen to the music and really to try to play together with other people. So today I want to show you 4 licks from this solo, and what I did is I put them on like a funk jam track with 2 chords, because I want to show you how you can work with really small snippets from a solo. How do I know which snippets I work with? It's very easy. I'm just listen to the solo, and if something excites me, I follow this excitement and then check out this little phrase. So I'm just stopping to watch what excites me, right? So in bar 27, I found a very cool line on a B-flat major 7 chord. And I'm just realizing all those notes stem from B-flat major, right? From the B-flat major scale, so 7, 9, 1, 3. And if I have a look at my 2 chords, I just can very literally play those phone numbers. I always like to say phone numbers regarding the intervals of a chord, like, right, which note are you playing? Is it the 3rd or whatever it is, right? So in this case, I'm having the major 7 and my first chord is an A7 sus4. So I'm playing like a 7 here, flat 7, 9, 1, and instead of playing the 3, I'm playing the 4, and then I'm just shifting the same thing and adapting it to the B major 9. So now I have like a cool little melody, a cool little motive that I would have never played like this, right? But I can play it now on my 2 chords. So I'm going to play a part of the Dexter Gordon solo. I hope it's not going to be copyrighted immediately, but this line, this motive, this little melody is like such a typical bebop thing, and you will hear it over and over again if you once recognize it. So can you hear? He's playing like a motive, do da ba di do di do do, na da da di do di do do, and then na da, and you think, oh, he's doing it one more time, like the 3rd time, but he doesn't do it, which is really cool. So if can only advise to you, if you yourself already know how you're going to repeat your motive, stop doing that and break it up somehow. It's really fun. So let's have a look at this little thing that he's playing there, which is so famous, right? I think it's a melody from a jazz standard. So he's playing it on a G minor chord. It's easy to understand it, and you can do it in any scale. So let's take our E minor, E Dorian scale. And I could just start this sequence from any note of the scale. And so I really love sequences because they're so organic and logical. And of course you can also like play the same thing in the B major scale, one note, three. Of course you can play the same thing on the B major scale. So I'm going to try to play this little motive, but then at the third repetition I'm going to start it in the same way, giving the impression I'm going to do the same thing, but then playing something different. And the next, I'm looking. So the next lick is very exciting for me because it's so easy to understand at the one hand, and giving so many possibilities and sounding so cool. So I'm deriving it from the, again, very motivic place of Dexter Gordon's solo in bar 43. He's playing like... That's what you want to hear, but that's not what is going to happen. But anyways, he's playing a whole tone. That's the way I understand it. And basically what I'm doing, I'm sort of playing my E Dorian scale again and scanning the fretboard for whole tone distances. And then I'm just going to play those whole tone distances in my solos. Yeah, what just happened is I played some like bebop lines in between just to sort of break it up, yeah, right, that it's not too predictable. And so the last lick is in bar 59. It's a long line, actually it's starting in bar like 57, going to bar 60. I'm going to link to the transcription below. And I highly recommend, if you want to learn some jazz language and get it into your system, there's a very easy and hard-working way of doing it. It's just learn a lick like the one I'm mentioning here and then play it over and over again, different positions on the fretboard, and transpose it. I know that that is really hard to do, but what happens then is that your ears and your fingers are going to get connected and you're going to hear the logic of those lines because they're very logical. And you can also analyze them or write them down on a piece of paper if you're not sure if you can hear it in the beginning, which like completely happened to me. I couldn't I could never transpose like a bebop line. I just wouldn't hear the intervallic relationships. But now I can hear it. It took quite a while. I want to encourage you to do the same. I'm going to play the line one time for you. So it's a long line and going to take only one snippet. If you have been watching my videos about arpeggios, you know that I see arpeggios more of a way to check out your fretboard, to have a framework that reflects a chord, right? Like a arpeggio on a B flat major 7 chord, like 1, 3, 5 major 7, etc., is sort of the framework. And then I can see the color notes and the options in relation to the arpeggio. I also don't necessarily always need to think about a scale, right? So I can just take one super cool snippet, a super chromatic snippet, starting on the 3, on this B flat major 7 chord, and then just going chromatically down to the root. I think that's something that's easy to remember. You play the 3 of a chord, maybe even on the same string, and then you just move down chromatically. So for our 2 chords, the first chord is the A7. It's a sus chord. Many people think sort of you're not allowed to play the major 3rd anymore, but I'm going to demonstrate in a second how cool the major 3rd is going to sound on the sus4 chord. So we're treating the A7 sus4 chord like an A7 chord. We're starting on the 3, that's the C sharp, and we're just descending from the C sharp. And on the B major 7, of course, we're descending from the D sharp. And just let's hear how that sounds. So that works really well. Now let's think about the A7 sus4 chord. Let's say it's an E minor 7 chord, and then we're starting on the G because that's the minor 3rd of the E minor 7 chord. So I know working on improvisation can be quite sort of a chaotic endeavor. I'm also working on a live online course that's going to take place in September, and you find the ticket in my description box. I'm very excited. But what I wanted to say is working on improvisation can be a lot of fun, but I really urge you to make a difference between noodling and practicing improvisation or making music. So when you're practicing, and that can be challenging. It should be work somehow because you're working at the edge of your ability. So please be sure that a part of your practice routine, especially in the beginning, is playing very few notes, being very much in the moment, listening to the guitar, and maybe only playing the root of the 2 chords that you're working on, right? In this video I had 2 chords that are not related to like a jazz standard, but you can just like take 2 chords from any jazz standard that you're working on. Take the part in the standard that is hard for you and then just play the root and say, that's cool. I'm playing a root on a G major, I'm playing a G, and start your practice session like this. And then when you move on, play stuff in the beginning where you exactly know what you're doing, and then later on you can just like use those concepts that I demonstrated today in a more like broader sense, right? Not like I'm having to play the 3 and then I have to play the 7, but like, no, I'm having an idea that is ascending, so the next idea is going to be ascending, just like working with restrictions, right? So that's it for today. I hope you're all doing fine. Get your guitar out of the back of the bag and start practicing. Bye.